So in paleontology news, a tibia or shin bone of a gigantic theropod was discovered in Maryland in the Prince George Dinosaur Park or Arundel Formation of Maryland. Um, so uh, in this article, it starts off long before the Chesapeake Bay or I-95 corridor etched the land that would be Maryland. An enormous carnivorous dinosaur lived and died here. About 115 million years later, staff and volunteers at Prince George's County Dinosaur Park say they have unearthed a tibia or shin bone belonging to that apex predator of the early Cretaceous period. And uh, the vast majority, if not all, of the fossils of dinosaurs and other prehistoric, well, specifically dinosaurs, have been found in early Cretaceous strata in Maryland. Um, Officials announced this week that the recovery of this fossil and others nearby elevated the park's classification to a bone bed, the first discovered in Maryland in 1887. Paleontologists define a bone bed as containing one or more species within a geological layer. So that's like how the Cleveland Lloyd quarry in Utah is considered a bone bed because there's multiple late Jurassic species found there. Let's see. They've also found fossilized teeth, vertebra and scales, so scale impressions belonging to a variety of dinosaur species. Um, 2018. And this is where they quote a paleontologist who identifies it as acrocanthosaurus, which makes sense because um, acrocanthosaurus is based on fragmentary remains, the only large to gigantic theropod that has been discovered in the eastern half of the east coast of the United States. Um, the only other like large theropod that comes to mind when thinking of notable carnivores or theropods within uh, Mesozoic strata of the eastern United States, or put more simply, the only other large theropod that I can think of that's been discovered in the eastern half of the United States or the East Coast is Cryptosaurus, which is early relative of T-Rex. That was discovered in New Jersey. But again, Cryptosaurus is nowhere near as large as Acrocanthosaurus. Um, and what makes this, and what makes this discovery of an Acrocanthosaurus tibia, and not to mention there's also been teeth that have been found in this formation in Maryland as well of Acrocanthosaurus. What makes these finds so fascinating and incredible is that this is basically an early Cretaceous, almost T-Rex sized theropod that's that was discovered in Maryland, and this is like the only megatheropod that's from the eastern half of the United States. Normally, you have to travel out west to like Montana or uh, Wyoming, Colorado, Texas, Oklahoma to find megatheropods, um, of the size of things like Acrocanthosaurus and T-Rex. Um, but yeah, I've always found Acrocanthosaurus to be a really interesting dinosaur. For those that don't know, Acrocanthosaurus is a Archaeodontosaurid from the early Cretaceous period. Normally, the paleontologists find fossils of this particular theropod in like Oklahoma and Texas, but as mentioned before, prior to this find, they have found fragmentary remains such as teeth in Maryland, the specific formation. Um, but yeah, what's notable about Acrocanthosaurus is the large sail that it has. Not as large as Spinosaurus, but it's pretty large. It's a noticeable sail. The vertebra, uh, and how paleontologists know that it has had a sail is because the of the tall vertebra on its back. Um, But yeah, acrocanthosaurus easily top three or one of the top three largest theropods that you discovered in North America specifically after T-Rex. You can make an argument that things like Allosaurus amplexus or Allosaurus maximus, or as some refer to know it as Saurophaganox, were larger, but I think Acrocanthosaurus was probably on average longer and heavier than those two species of Allosaurus. Um, but yeah, regardless, it's sort of like getting into the weeds. It's point is it's easily uh top one of the top three largest theropods in North America, and now they have evidence that its range, um, or the range that it or its habitat range extended to the east coast of what's now the United States and Maryland. Um, I should mention that in this what's now called a bone bed, they have found um, other contemporary dinosaurs that lived alongside Acrocanthosaurus, such as Tenontosaurus, which is a iguanodon, relative of iguanodon, Deinonychus, and Astrodon. Uh, so, um, yeah, paleontologists know that, or are already knew that Deinonychus and Tenontosaurus lived alongside Acrocanthosaurus, and in fact, Acrocanthosaurus likely hunted Tenontosaurus. And as the article mentioned earlier, Acrocanthosaurus, whether it be its habitat in what's now Texas, Oklahoma, or Maryland, what's now Maryland, uh, you know, yeah, it was easily the apex predator of its environment because it's as all Carcharodontosaurids were. Let's see here. Uh, yeah, article points out that dinosaur fossils are exceptionally rare in the eastern United States. Um, as I pointed out or mentioned, New Jersey has some notable or significant uh, dinosaur fossils, such as those of the relative T-Rex, Dryptosaurus, Hadrosaurus. I believe there's been several footprints of Eubrontis found in New Jersey. Those are also found in Connecticut as well. Basically, the Eubrontis is just the name for these early Jurassic theropod trackways or footprints. But yeah, the eastern U.S. is not exactly known for its abundance of dinosaur fossils. You got to go out west to like Colorado, for example, or Wyoming, Montana, North or South Dakota, things like states like that. Uh, yeah, so other paleontologists who are quoted in this article, they're pointing out how it's a significant find. Um, but yeah, um, yeah, just to be clear, it's only the tibia that they found. It's not like they found an entire skeleton. That doesn't happen too often with paleontological finds, where they find a complete or near complete skeleton. Normally, they find fragments of like skull or vertebra or um, digits of their uh, or body parts such as the acrometatarsal, the or radius or ulna of the arm bone, or as as was discovered in this formation or this dinosaur part, the tip like something like the tibia. You never find a complete or almost it's very rare to find a complete skeleton. Oh, I should. So yeah, I agree. It's most likely Acrocanthosaurus that they that was discovered here. But what I found interesting was there's a potential species of allosaurus um, that that was discovered in this from Prince George's dinosaur park. There's a few teeth that were found, so it's definitely not conclusive. Uh, it's by no means uh, a new species. It's by no means an official new species of allosaurus that was found. I think there was some speculation that it could be a species of allosaurus that lived in this time period in this what's now Maryland. But if that's the case, then it'd be interesting to think about one of the different niches that acrocanthosaurus and this new species or this potential, it's definitely far from 100% certain, but this potential species of allosaurus would fill and how they would interact and live alongside one another uh, in this environment of the early Cretaceous. Um, it's interesting to think about these two carnosaurs uh, competing for prey, such as Tenontosaurus and Astrodon. But yeah, I'm gonna cut this video a little short. Um, I just thought, or I just wanted to make a video on this because it's pretty big news in paleontology within the paleontological community. And since Acrocanthosaurus is probably one of my top 5 favorite dinosaurs, I wanted to react to it because I think, because I'm from the East Coast, I'm from the Mid-Atlantic area, and so I think it's pretty cool that something like Acrocanthosaurus is found pretty close by to where I live. So, yeah, exciting news for paleontologists everywhere.